Wait, you got that one that was, oh, no, it was like 5, no, it was only 1 minute. Well done.
I'm hoping that people are able to get in salary.
So there is a lady that comes out and asks if you want to fill out a form, if you're here for early voting, and I said no, and then she said, well, go around.
Beth, are you on WebEx now?
Beth called me and I said, you need to go in the outdoors and then just come out.
Okay, thank you.
Usually I was standing in line, so.
Yeah.
Do
I
a,
didn't know it was-
when we
I
bring
didn't
it,
know was-
do a roll call when we get,
A lot of interest in
Yeah.
early voters.
Okay, it is 9:30 and we will call to order the meeting of the County Health Insurance
Gary,
Committee.
will be 10 minutes late. We just texted.
In attendance this morning, we have committee members Tom Walsh and Kendra Pottinger by WebEx. The minutes of the last meeting were sent out.
we have 2.
Meeting from the August
All of the attachments
27
online.
committee meeting and the special
So they
meeting
have-
before the full board. I'd ask for a motion to accept and place on file by Mr. Walsh and Mr. Wilson. All in favor? Aye.
Email something? Did Beth email something for your members?
That's what I was asking her, if she forwarded that out to anybody.
I didn't know,
I will, who is
Get her
online
name.
that needs to see it?
Kendra is the only one
Kendra.
online.
And where's Kurt? He's not here.
Tina says she won't be here.
Kendra, do you want me to email you this real quick?
Kendra? Sure.
Just, you might as well start. I'll just go do it. Well,
Sure. The head count, we always take a look at factors of spend. Head count's pretty much static. A slight drop in members, so that might be dependents, spouses, children. So we're at 1,200, we were at 1,255. Our spend overall through August compared to August of last year, slightly higher, 3.3%, roughly about $200,000. So that number is 6,536,000 versus 6,329,000 last year. We take a look at large claimants. We have 11 this year to date compared to 8 last year. Of these large claimants, again, you can see the dollar amounts of the claims. A lot of factor there from specialty drugs in the area, particularly of cancer. So bottom line, the plan for large claimants has paid year to date $1,229,000. That's the ER responsibility, compared to $897,000 last year at the same time period. Now, last year you could see 2 columns over, 2019. Throughout the whole year, claims escalated to 18, and the plan was responsible for $1.9 million. So again, when large claims surface is anybody's guess if they surface. There has been, we might say, a little bit of a delay in some other claims. We talked about that last time about during COVID. Not everybody is necessarily getting elective services done. And again, if you really take a look at it, our claims are up 200,000, our spend is up 200,000, our large claimants versus last year, basically up 300,000. So there has been a slight drop in spend. If you take a look at the yellow part there, the plan is running 96% of expected. So our expected year-to-date per capita is 15,509. We're at 14,957, so that's a plus. We're in a good shape there compared to expected. Again, compared to last year, a little bit higher. We took a look pre-COVID back at your claims through March 31st to see is there an impact? Was there a drop in claims? Might have been a little bit, because the per capita at that time was running at 15.3. We're at 14.9, not much. I mean, people need services, they're gonna get them still today. And especially, this is through August, we've seen claims drop off maybe in March and April, but in June and July and August, that certainly people have gotten back to some normal types of care. Versus benchmarks, local government, from Kaiser, from Mercer, you're slightly better than those. So I think the plan is running basically where we expected it to be. To summarize that, if you take a look at the per capita bar chart to the right on the bottom, the gray is the current year expected, the blue diamond is the current year actual, and the red is last year. Any questions on that? I'm going to shift to the pharmacy. So there's a one-page summary in there, two-sided, regarding pharmacy. And again, the pharmacy is a growing area, particularly when we have specialty drugs involved. Although, again, your plan is running at 86, 87% roughly generic dispensing rate, which is great. And your employees are substituting generic where possible 98.2% of the time, which again is a very positive number. It helps the overall plan spend. The formulary spend, which you recall several years ago, we were challenged with this. These are the most optimal drugs at the most optimal cost and the best efficacy for performance. We are now performing with this formulary at 99.2%. Again, kudos to everybody. That's very good position to be. Our specialty drugs, so if we drop down to the bottom, specialty percent of total scripts. So it's really kind of maintains that. It's only 1% of the total scripts. But it's about, so year to date, it's about 44% of your pharmacies.
Hey, Mike,
Yes,
where'd he go?
Do you have extra folders?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think Jerry, he might come around, maybe he thinks he's can grab one this time, maybe just sit him right there.
Okay.
I think he's coming in.
Thank you, sorry.
Go grab
Oh,
one
absolutely.
At some point.
Very positive, in the month of August, there's been 28% of spend was specialty. So within the next year, we should start seeing some biosimilar alternatives for some of the specialty drugs that are out there. But we continue to see a larger number of newfound specialty drugs that are going to be entering the marketplace. So this will always be in this 40 to 50% range, probably going forward. And again, as I explained before, if we go into the next page, you'll see where the specialty drugs are and spend is coming from. So the bottom page number is 19. It's got two pie charts on it. We'll focus on the bottom left. So we have 15 claimants. That's 1% of scripts and $434,000 to spend so far year to date. These are the top 15 specialty drug spend. Again, what we're going to commonly see is autoimmune, and those run about $5,000 a script. Androl, Humira, Stelara. The cancers are oral cancer drugs. Those can be quite expensive, but they're life-saving or life-altering, and then members might move on to a different drug from there. So again, this is something we're constantly looking at to see if there's alternatives coming up in the marketplace that we could steer member to lower costs and save your plan money as well. Any questions on pharmacy? The last item I had was put on hold last meeting because we were in negotiations still, and that was the Benestar retiree carve-out plan for Code 65 member. We originally received a renewal, and this is for the same plan design that we have currently. The original renewal is 4.5%. We were able to renegotiate it to 2.32%, saving the county and the members a few more dollars. So a $35,000 increase overall annually. And about $35,000 lower than what was last time I was here. So I believe this needs an approval yet. Okay. That's the end of my report, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mike?
I have a question that's not a report, in relationship to the COVID situation.
Mhm.
What, are we in any problem area as far as the county is concerned? If there would be an outbreak within the employees of the facility that are on Blue Cross?
Do we see that, from?
Well, yeah, I mean, what I'm getting at, would you push it off onto workman's comp, or what would you?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think that's gonna be dependent on how the member files it. Whether they've been back to work or whatever, and claim that it was because of the situation here. I know there's laws regarding that, and I don't know those inside out of my territory, but if you need some information on that.
Well, no, it's just, it's hypothetical, but it's just,
Yeah.
we might need to,
So if you're asking where would it be more favorably paid, I don't know if we've got enough data to say that yet.
Sure.
We asked for a report of how many members do have claims, and I haven't seen anything on your group. Nothing good. I haven't seen anything. Maybe once. There might have been something in the past 6 months, but nothing in magnitude. It's a great question, though. I don't mean to dodge it, but.
No, I understand. I just wanted to get it on the table. So
We're still learning a lot yet, and next to learn about is going to be the vaccines and how those are paid for and everything else that are coming around the corner too. So
Oh, absolutely.
we asked the question, the carriers aren't ready to answer it yet though, so, but very fluid times. Great question. I'll keep it on top to look at feedback.
Okay, any questions for Mike on the Benestar renewal for 2021?
Did you really talk about this?
Then I would ask for a motion to approve, accept, and forward to the full board. Tom Walsh, Jerry,
Rather limited.
and Jerry Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Kendra? Okay, all ayes, motion carries.
Thank you.
And you have the resolution there that we can pass around. I can do that if you've signed it.
Perfect. You need a motion to place this report on file?
On file and
Yep.
bills. Okay, any questions on Mike's report? Then I ask for a motion to accept the report and place on file by Mr. Walsh and Ms. Corretto. All in favor? Opposed? Report is on file.
Put it in the mailboxes.
Jerry, have you seen the bills yet? Okay, we'll hold off on approval of those. Joyce,
Yeah, I got it.
you like to do the budget presentation?
you get one of these? Did you get one of these? Yeah, it's fine. No, that was just for me. And then I think we're going to we're looking at the rest of the year. So we're pretty slow. Yeah, everything's
So thank you. Thanks, Luann.
Very good.
Yeah, so I think we did really good.
You don't know how the same's time for me. Thank you.
I always do that now. Get yourself out of here.
Thank
You got other stuff.
Watch the crowd on your way out.
You need me? I don't think so. Okay, thanks, Mike. Thank you.
You want to do the easy one first, Melissa?
And that was, is what?
There's an easy one? Are you kidding?
045.
It's just, that's the big, yeah. Sure. I didn't print that one to bring in, but I know which one it is.
Then blow it up a little bit so you can see it better. So 45 basically reports,
45 is the professional services and health and life insurance of, that's all the general fund, I believe, 045.
that's what it looks like.
And then the HSA seed money. So the HSA seed money line, that's like the 25,000, that's what we anticipate that we will be putting into funds based on enrollment right now. Now that could vary a little. We could see that go up, and if we see enrollments going in that way before you finalize the total budget at the end of November, I can tell you that, Joyce, so that we can account for that a little bit closer to accurate. But it'll depend on if we have more enrollees in the high deductible health plan for 1/1 of 21. So that number could change a little. The professional services is the Horton Group's charge, Curalink, and the health insurance is the balance after everything else is put out. And I'd have to go get my folder on that one.
Don't you expend it on 98? For all that?
Here, Joyce.
You aren't gonna need it for the other ones?
Yeah, I need to go get my folder so I can talk easier to my notes
Okay.
if I need them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody has a question on that line specifically. But the 5 million should be the balance after everything else is allotted in the other.
Any questions on that one? I need you to sign and date that one, it says department head. You got it, Ken?
I do.
It's here, I see it.
Yeah. Today it's just not here.
Okay. I'm moving on to 98. It's kind of our big, one of the big ones.
Yeah, that one is, that's all the other health insurance. So what comes out of that health insurance is, starting from the top, all the revenue coming in is because we bill departments. And then we also take into account all of the premiums that we receive for payroll deduction from all the employees for coverage. So you have all of those items listed. And then under the expenditure part, we break down what we receive for the approval. The administrative expense is Blue Cross. The expense on our end for the group life, the stop loss, the claims projected expense, dental and vision wash from the top to the bottom because that's employee only. We identify retiree premium receipt through IMRF, so all the premiums the retirees give us for their coverage. The highway laborers premium is in there, but also at the top then, we balance out what we collect from them in their premium share. So there is a difference Joyce and I talked about this morning. We're short, the net amount at the very bottom is $537,578. And the primary reason is going to be the fluctuation on your claims expense. So when you looked at the report from the Horton Group and they showed us what we were renewing at, but they showed what the total projected claim expense is for the year, that's gonna be your varying amount. Like if it's less, then we're gonna see less on that net amount. If it's gonna be more, that's the only item in the whole budget that can fluctuate. Everything else is based on the rates and the enrollment numbers. So all of that is very specific, it's all set. The only item that is not a set amount of money that can vary is gonna be your claims expense. So if we can affect that positively with wellness, with more individual management of health that reduces your claims expense, then we would hope that that 537,000 that we're short will decrease. So the only line we really can see that can do that is that claims expense line. And we would hope that we could affect that positively with different things, like we approved the Limbongo program. So we would hope that we get people enrolled in that and we see a decrease in their health claims because they're participating in a program that can help them become more healthy. So we see less on that end. So that's about the only line that we see can reduce that. Now Joyce advised me we're gonna have to figure out where we can account for that, and that's Joyce's area, not mine. And how
We're gonna plant a money tree out front.
Exactly.
I want one of those.
Melissa, I wanted you to explain, it's got a question mark on it, is the Cobra administration up here? Is that a new line?
Hold on, I need to look at that.
Way at the top.
That is actually, that's tricky. It's rolled in and it's identified when we pay our monthly payments to Blue Cross because they just deduct that out of what we owe. So I don't know that that's not gonna be like a separate charge anymore because they're rolling that in because it rolled in under Blue Cross instead of a separate
Okay, so that's
bill
why,
that I'm paying. It's really now they identify it and then they just adjust our balance based on what that activity is now. So I'm seeing that in the bi-monthly payments that we are paying to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
so there's nothing on this line because it's
It's now gonna be,
incorporated.
yeah, it's gonna be incorporated
Okay.
into the monthly expenses that we have. If you wanted to see it in some capacity, I could identify it every month.
Can I get rid of that line?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay, so
In next month.
I don't consider it a significant amount in this fund. I don't consider it to be a significant amount.
Okay.
The only thing I'm concerned about is the 537,000 down here that we are short. So whatever programs, as Melissa said, that we need to do to educate folks about how to stay healthy and be healthy and so forth, that would be good.
I just,
Gwen?
Melissa, what percentage of our employees take advantage of any programs that we have right now existing in our insurance package for prevention of?
You know what, I'd have to ask the Horton Group to give us, run something that maybe could tell us that. I could ask them for that for October. Because I wouldn't,
You wouldn't have that.
No, I mean, I can give you an example. We just did the biometric screening. So we had 3 days available last Friday and this last Monday and Tuesday, and we had 90 slots open and we filled 71 of them.
That's good though, because
Yeah, considering the current environment, I wasn't quite sure that that it would go very well overall, and it actually did. It went the first Friday and Tuesday we were almost filled. In the middle day was kind of the day that we were a little bit less. So those types of activities, I could say that we were 2/3 full on, 75% of participation on what we offered. The Livongo, we won't know until we see who qualifies in that kind of program, what we're gonna end up seeing for an expense that they'll funnel through the claims expense category, I would presume. They probably can tell us monthly as we start into that new program what the participation rate is. Just like CureLink for the EAP services that we pay for, they'll give us a random update, usually year end, where we can see, how much participation we're getting. And it's not high percentages like you'd like to see, but the purpose of it, if some people are using it, that's better than, you know what I mean? It's a good program, even if you might not see a high percentage of participation, but it's there because somebody's using it, because they really need to use it. So it's serving a purpose. But I could ask them if we feel we should see something in the next month or two, or as we start the new year, we could ask for some participation rates on some of the specific things that we're doing to see if we can see an increase in wellness overall.
yeah, it's not much. Thank you.
Can I move on?
Move on.
Okay, insurance.
Which one is this?
This is 016. Okay.
Do you want me to explain anything, or do you?
Yeah, go ahead if you want to. I'm gonna try to size this.
116, I would say, this is our flow through, isn't it? And all
Yeah,
of
this is the levy that collects the money for the bonds, basically.
So this fund has all the monies that come in for the bond activity. We also then, under our risk management plan, we identified values related to payroll expense that we then transfer back to other funds. And that's in, not the revenue section at the top, but the second section under expenditures. So relates to any kind of health insurance vendor, like our ACA vendor, anything with the chamber that we do for training services, CIC, any of that professional services comes out of that line. We have the transfer amounts that are coming out, that's related to payroll. And then a lot of the fund expenses that we have are for the HR department, because this is the only fund that we can fall under as far as different things. So education, dues and subscriptions, library, all of our safety training and supplies and membership, all of those components are coming out of this account. We have general and professional liability insurance, which is some judges that we fund, that comes through here. Office expense, which is very minimal. Work comp indemnity and liability, unemployment insurance, so those pieces. And then you'll see at the very bottom, we transfer to insurance trust bond monies that will support those for the next year, according to the debt schedules we have on those bonds. And then also we have payroll expense that comes out of this fund for the HR department and a portion for the attorney. So this fund is it's pretty specific. I mean, the debt schedules and the bond trust information is all very set. We're pretty conservative when it comes to the lines that relate to the education, the subscriptions, all of those health and safety components. We're pretty careful with how we spend and what we allot for it. So I'm trying to keep that managed very carefully. I'm not sure what else you want me to say.
Well, can I stop you for just a second, because I want to back up to 98 for a minute. One of the things I want to make everyone aware of in 98 is that there is, I believe, a tax levy that could be done for health insurance that we have not implemented. I'm not saying that's a good way to go. I'm just mentioning that because 537,000 is a kind of a big number. And Melissa and I were talking, and I do not believe that this tax levy could be used to help pay for that health insurance. I think this tax levy was specifically set up to pay for the bonds specifically. And so I do not believe that we can use this money to do that. The other thing I wanted to point out on this fund is, as of 6/30, we were down to a balance of $134,000. So this fund was running low until we started getting money in from the tax levy. So just two notes that I wanted to point out. Sorry to jump around.
I don't think I have. I don't know that there's anything else to explain unless there's questions.
Nothing else? Okay.
Do you need to sign? I only signed 45.
Yeah, I got the other ones here.
Joyce, do you need one motion or?
Yeah,
several
one
motions for all?
one motion is fine.
Any questions for finance director?
I know nothing, she knows everything about this.
I had one,
Tom?
could you elaborate a little bit about what you mentioned about the health insurance payment coming from the levy?
I understand that there's a possibility of a levy. We never levied for health insurance. There is a possibility to do that. I don't know the details of it. I would have to talk to state's attorney's office to understand, but.
Mr. Hicks?
Yeah, we researched that in the past, with John LaSalle. I believe Jim was in on a couple of discussions this year or so back as well. If we're to implement any kind of additional dollars for health insurance, it has to go out to referendum, and it would certainly fail, because referendums for money generally don't pass. Especially when, there's, insurance entity maybe out there for government employees to have health insurance.
Well, and I'm hoping that Melissa's programs that she's instituted and the way that health insurance has now been structured, that we're gonna see a reduction in that cost. So I'm hoping over time, but we have to take care of, where's that money coming from if this fund doesn't support itself? And so we have to make those decisions, whatever that is. And I'm not saying I'm for health
Right,
insurance.
no,
I'm just
I mean,
saying.
there's an opportunity out there, but I think it had been discussed in the past. I think Brian was involved in it as well when we were talking about it, and it won't fly.
No, I can't. I understand what you're saying. Yes.
I mean, it's a good thought, though. I mean, any way we can try to do something, I guess the best thing we're doing right now is curbing costs.
Yes.
Different programs that you have,
And it's a long stretch. We have to work our way through it. I get that, yeah.
Any other second by Ms. Corretto? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Kendra? Aye. Aye. All ayes, motion carried.
Thank you, Trace.
Thank you.
Did we get did you get a signature on that,
Mm-hmm,
the retiree one?
mm-hmm, on top.
The rest are all done.
Just this one?
Yeah, that one has to go to full board, the other ones already are done, we just needed signatures. And then she needs to,
What do you do with them? Just put them in the file?
no, here. I just need to ask her, she might need a copy of this too, I guess. This one has to go to full board.
We have to pay the bills, I think that's it.
And we have signatures.
Oh, whatever, thank you.
You'll miss it.
Hey Joyce, are these yours too? Just so-
Those are skip spares.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further for the committee?
We have to pay the bills.
Melissa, do you have anything?
No.
All right, everyone's reviewed the bills. If I could have a motion to approve by Mr. Walsh, second. Second by Mr. Hicks, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Kendra will abstain because she hasn't.
Right.
All right, if there's no further business, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Hicks, Ms. Corretto, all in favor? Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 10:10. Thank you for everyone attending.
I don't have it. I'm missing things. Oh, you're still signing it. I'm just gonna